Okay, so software,
Yeah.
it's everywhere, right? I mean, think about it, from the apps on our phones
No, absolutely.
to the systems that run our hospitals, even the traffic lights that, get us home safely.
It's true.
But have you ever stopped to think about how that software actually gets made?
Yeah,
It's a pretty fascinating process.
it is.
And it's undergoing like a total revolution right now, thanks to something called generative AI or Gen AI.
Yeah, and it really is a revolution. We're talking about AI that can like write code
Wow.
and not just like simple scripts. We're talking about AI that can help with like every single stage of the software development life cycle.
So that's what we're going to unpack today, is how this Gen AI is changing the game from, from that initial planning stage
Yeah,
all the way to launching the finished product. And
exactly.
to help us make sense of it all, we have
Oh, I'm happy to be here.
an expert who's been like knee deep in this world,
I have, yeah.
who can give us the insights we need.
Let's start with the planning phase. I think that's always a good place to start, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Where everything begins. And now anyone who's worked on a software project knows that gathering requirements can be a real pain point.
Oh, yeah.
It's like trying to nail down jelly,
Hmm.
with everyone having like different ideas, and those ideas are often scattered across emails, documents, meeting notes.
Oh, I can relate to that.
Yeah.
It's like trying to build a house without a blueprint.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's where Gen AI comes in, right?
We're right.
You can like sort through all that chaos and find the key information.
Think of it like having a super-powered research assistant
Okay.
that can instantly analyze mountains of data and extract the most relevant information.
Wow.
Gen AI can sift through, those documents, emails, meeting notes,
Right.
to identify the core requirements of the project.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
So instead of spending weeks, maybe even months, trying to get everyone on the same page,
right.
Gen AI can do the heavy lifting and give the team a clear starting point.
Precisely. And this not only saves time and money,
Right.
but it also reduces the risk of misunderstandings and miscommunications down the line.
That's huge.
Yeah, and here's a bonus. Gen AI can even generate those detailed FAQ documents automatically.
What?
So you don't have to answer the same questions over and over again.
That's a lifesaver right there.
Yeah.
So we've got our requirements nailed down thanks to Gen AI.
Yes.
What's next in the software development journey?
Well, next comes the design phase.
Okay.
Imagine an architect who can instantly generate different building plans based on your specifications.
Wow.
That's what Gen AI can do for software design.
So instead of spending hours sketching out ideas and revising drafts, developers can use Gen AI to get a head start on the design process.
Absolutely. Gen AI can help create initial design drafts, suggest different architectures, and even find potential inconsistencies between document versions.
Okay.
This not only speeds up the design process,
Right.
but it also improves the quality and consistency of the design itself.
And I imagine this is especially helpful when you have a large team of developers working on a project.
Yeah.
Gen AI can help keep everyone on the same page and ensure that the design is consistent across the board.
You're exactly right. Gen AI acts like a central hub of information, making sure everyone is working from the same blueprint. Now, once the design is finalized,
Okay.
we move into the development phase.
Right.
This is where Gen AI really shines. Think of it as giving developers a set of coding superpowers.
Coding superpowers. Now you've got my attention. What exactly do you mean by that?
Well, imagine you're coding and you get stuck on a particular problem.
Happens all the time.
Right. Instead of spending hours searching through documentation or online forums,
Right.
you can simply ask Gen AI for help.
Oh, wow.
It can suggest code snippets in real time, optimize your code for efficiency, and even translate code between different programming languages.
Wow, that's amazing. It's like having a super smart coding buddy who can instantly answer any question you have.
It really is. And Gen AI can do even more than that. It can automatically write unit tests, which are essential for ensuring code quality, but can be incredibly tedious to create manually.
Oh, for sure. So developers can spend less time on like those repetitive tasks
Exactly.
and more time on the creative and challenging aspects of coding. That's a huge win.
It is.
But what about finding and fixing bugs? That's a critical part of software development too.
Absolutely. And it's a part where Gen AI can make a significant impact. Imagine Gen AI as a tireless detective
Oh.
Constantly scanning code for potential bugs and vulnerabilities.
Hmm.
It can automatically create test scenarios, simulate real-world user traffic to find performance bottlenecks,
Okay.
and analyze bug reports to prioritize the most critical
So
issues.
Gen AI can help developers catch and fix bugs earlier in the development process,
Yes,
which saves time and money and results in higher quality software.
exactly.
But what happens once the software is ready to be released?
That's the deployment phase.
Oh, yeah.
And Gen AI plays a crucial role here, too. Think about all the documentation that needs to be created.
Yeah.
User manuals, knowledge bases, support materials. Ugh, so much.
Gen AI can generate all of that automatically
Really?
in multiple languages and even in different formats like audio or video.
So Gen AI is not only making the software itself better,
Right.
but it's also making it easier for users to learn how to use it and get the support they need. That's a fantastic benefit.
It is, and it's just one example of how Gen AI is transforming the entire software development lifecycle from start to finish.
This has been a fascinating look at how Gen AI is revolutionizing the way software is created. But we've only scratched the surface. In our next segment, we'll delve deeper into some of the more advanced capabilities of Gen AI and explore how this technology is changing the very nature of what's possible with software.
I'm looking forward to it. There's so much more to uncover, and it's incredibly exciting to see how Gen AI is shaping the future of software development. It's not just about making individual phases like faster or more efficient.
Right, we touched on this briefly, but I'm really curious to dig into the bigger picture. Absolutely. Gen AI is kind of pushing us towards a more agile and iterative approach to software development as a whole. Think of it this way, traditional software development was like building a skyscraper.
Okay.
You had a rigid plan, and any changes along the way were costly and time-consuming.
But with Gen AI, we're moving towards a model that's more like sculpting, right?
Yeah.
You start with a rough idea and you shape and refine it as you go based on feedback and new insights.
That's a great analogy.
Thanks.
Gen AI allows developers to experiment more, try new things, and course correct quickly without having to go back to the drawing board every time. This leads to software that is more adaptable, more responsive to user needs, and ultimately more successful.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like the software itself becomes more dynamic and flexible, just like the development process. So we've talked a lot about the amazing things Gen AI can do.
Right.
But what about the potential downsides? Are there any risks or challenges we need to be aware of?
Of course, with any powerful technology, there are always things to consider. One area that needs careful attention is the potential for unintended consequences. For example, if a Gen AI tool is trained on a data set of code that contains security vulnerabilities,
Oh, right.
it might inadvertently introduce those vulnerabilities into the new code it generates.
That's a good point. It sounds like it's crucial to make sure that the data used to train these Gen AI models is high quality and free from any potential issues.
Absolutely, and it's not just about the data. We also need to think about the potential impact of Gen AI on the skills and roles of software developers. Some tasks that are currently done by humans, like writing basic code or creating documentation, could potentially be automated by Gen AI.
So does that mean developers will be out of a job?
Not necessarily. I see it more as a shift in the types of skills that will be in demand. Developers will need to become more adept at working with Gen AI tools, understanding their strengths and limitations, and knowing how to use them effectively to build better software.
So it's not just about coding anymore. It's about being able to collaborate with AI and leverage its capabilities to enhance your own work.
Exactly. We're likely to see a rise in demand for developers who can think strategically about how to integrate Gen AI into the development process, who can troubleshoot complex issues that arise from AI-generated code, and who can ensure that the software being created aligns with ethical considerations and business goals.
It sounds like the role of the developer is evolving, becoming more strategic and high level, which is fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
But what about the companies and organizations that are adopting Gen AI? What are some of the key things they need to keep in mind?
One crucial aspect is establishing clear guidelines and best practices for using Gen AI in software development.
Okay.
This includes things like ensuring the quality of training data, validating the output of Gen AI tools, and having human oversight to catch potential errors or biases.
So it's not just about letting the AI run wild, it's about using it responsibly and making sure there are safeguards in place.
Exactly. Another important consideration is the need for ongoing training and education. Developers need to be constantly learning about new Gen AI tools and techniques, as this is a field that's evolving rapidly.
It sounds like lifelong learning is becoming even more essential in the world of software development. But let's zoom out a bit. We've been talking a lot about the technical side of things, But what about the broader impact of Gen AI on the software industry as a whole?
Well, I think one of the most significant impacts will be an increase in the speed and efficiency of software development. With Gen AI handling many of the tedious and time-consuming tasks, developers can focus on solving more complex problems and creating more innovative solutions.
So we could see a surge in new software applications and services as the barriers to entry for development become lower. That's exciting.
It is, and it's not just about the quantity of software, but also the quality. Gen AI can help improve the reliability, security, and user-friendliness of software, which benefits everyone.
This has been an incredible exploration of how Gen AI is shaping the present and future of software development. From automating tasks to transforming workflows, it's clear that Gen AI is having a profound impact. But I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the bigger question. What does this all mean for the future of software itself?
That's a great question, and one that we'll dive into in the next part of our deep dive. We'll explore how Gen AI is pushing the boundaries of what's possible with software, creating new opportunities for innovation, and ultimately changing the way we interact with technology in our everyday lives.
Welcome back. We've spent the last two segments really digging into how generative AI is revolutionizing the way software is built.
Yeah.
But now I want to kind of shift gears and talk about like the end result, the software itself.
Yeah.
How is Gen AI changing what software can do and how we interact with it?
It's a really fascinating question. We're already seeing glimpses of what's possible. Think about software that can adapt to your individual preferences in real time. Imagine like a learning app that adjusts its difficulty level based on your progress, or a fitness tracker that personalizes your workouts based on your biometrics.
It's like having software that's tailor-made for you, constantly evolving to meet your needs. That's incredible.
Exactly, and that's just scratching the surface.
Wow.
Gen AI could also be used to create software that's more accessible to people with disabilities.
Okay.
Imagine an app that can automatically adjust its interface based on the user's visual or auditory capabilities, making technology more inclusive for everyone.
That would be a game changer for so many people.
Hmm.
It's really exciting to think about how Gen AI can be used to make technology more user-friendly and accessible.
Absolutely, and it's not just about user interfaces. Gen AI could also be used to create software that's more powerful and capable than anything we've seen before. Imagine scientific software that can analyze massive data sets and identify patterns that would be impossible for humans to spot, leading to new discoveries and breakthroughs.
Or business software that can analyze market trends and predict customer behavior with incredible accuracy, giving companies a competitive edge. The possibilities are truly mind-blowing.
They really are. And here's another thought.
Okay.
Gen AI could be used to create software that's more creative and expressive.
Interesting.
Imagine a music composition tool that can help you write a symphony or a graphic design program that can generate stunning visuals based on your input.
That takes us into like the realm of art and creativity,
Yeah.
which is fascinating. It sounds like Gen AI is not only changing how software is made, but also expanding our very definition of what software can be.
I think that's a great way to put it. We're on the cusp of a new era in software development, one where the lines between technology and creativity are becoming blurred, and where the possibilities are limited only by our imagination.
This has been an incredible deep dive into the world of Gen AI and its impact on software development. We've covered a lot of ground from like the technical details to the broader implications for the future of software. But as we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with a challenge.
The challenge. I like it. What do you have in mind?
I think it's time to move beyond the hype and start thinking critically about how we want to shape this future. Gen AI is a powerful tool, but it's up to us to decide how we use it. We need to ask ourselves, what kind of software do we want to create?
Right.
What problems do we want to solve? And how can we ensure that this technology benefits everyone?
Those are excellent questions, and I encourage everyone listening to ponder them. We have a unique opportunity to shape the future of software, and it's an opportunity we shouldn't take lightly.
So to our listeners, we leave you with this: explore the world of Gen AI. Experiment with the tools. Learn the possibilities. And most importantly, start thinking about how you can use this technology to create something truly amazing.
The future of software is in our hands. Let's build something extraordinary.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of generative AI and software development. We hope you found it insightful and inspiring.